Hey everybody, this is Piers Austin from Wrestling with Tragedy. On September 1st, 2021, the wrestling world lost Shannon Spruill, who was better known to the wrestling world as Daffney Unger. This episode is going to be in dedication to Daffney, and we're going to be talking about her career, her mental health, and suicide. This episode is going to be covering mental health and suicide. And if you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts or having a hard time, please contact the USA Life Prevention Hotline or Australian Lifeline. On the video of this episode, through the entirety, we will have the USA Suicide Prevention Lifeline and the Australian Lifeline scrolling at the bottom. Again, if you or someone you know is going through a dark time, please reach out to either a loved one, someone you know, or one of these hotlines and seek help. And never, never, ever make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Thank you.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is I, the Kingpin, along with my boy, Pierce Austin. Today, we're just doing a special episode for Daffney, known as Daffney Unger, doing a celebration of life, but also talk about, mental health and, her passing, and to at least show her that she was loved in the wrestling community and address issues about mental health and suicide, if I'm hitting on the point.
Yeah, and as I said in the intro to the show, guys, throughout the entirety of this video, we'll have the USA Suicide Prevention Lifeline scrolling at the bottom, alongside the Australian Lifeline as well, scrolling at the bottom through the entirety of this video. If you live in another country, please know that you do have help available to you as well. Find those contact numbers. If you can't find them, please reach out to myself or Angel. You can find me on Twitter at Piers Austin, or Facebook Piers Austin, or Instagram Piers Austin1. And you can find Angel on Twitter on ECW Baldy Angel or Angel El Medina on Facebook. And, please reach out to us and we will do whatever we can to help you find the help. If you are going through suicidal thoughts or any type of mental illness, we will do the best to help get you the best possible help if you are having issues finding it. As I said, just remember that you're never alone. Everybody has somebody that loves them. And Angel, when I saw the video of Daffney, the two videos that I saw, as someone who has struggled with depression in my life, seeing that was very hard to watch. I never knew Daffney. I never had the honor and privilege of meeting her or having a conversation with her. But seeing that video, I know that feeling. And even though she had a lot of people that cared for her, who loved her, colleagues in the professional wrestling world and people outside of the professional wrestling world, when you're in that moment, you feel like you don't have anyone. And seeing someone go through that struggle in such a public way, it was a very difficult video to watch, and my heart broke watching it. And within 24 hours finding out what had happened after that, I'm sorry, man. That it's hard. It's my heart just goes out to everyone who knew her, to all of her family, because it's a very tragic circumstance.
No, I totally understand. I mean, my problem is that I've been around death for a very long time in wrestling. Lost a lot of friends. Which I miss a lot. Because some people had demons and they were hard. Wrestlers don't reach out to wrestlers because I'm not saying all of them. I mean, myself, like when I had issues, um, at a certain point in my life, I didn't want to reach out to anybody because, it was just for me, not for anybody else, but for me, I was just didn't want to show weakness, because you're a wrestler, man up, be strong, so I had to deal with it myself, which I did, it's a hard road when you have, pain basically just bottled up inside, you know, and no matter what anybody told me, I still couldn't grasp the fact that people cared about me, people loved me, I was just engulfed in just darkness, at a certain point in my life.
Yeah,
And I can understand what she was going through. It's just that I wish, people were reaching out to her, showing that she was loved, they cared. Um, she had a lot of friends, so um, yeah, my heart goes out to her and her family. I mean, it's just she had a very, very stellar career, very awesome career, really well respected in the business. You know,
very
uh,
respected.
yeah, I mean, she had a lot to live for.
And we kind of saw um during that video, there was many people that we know from the wrestling world that are acquaintances and people that we know in the business that were messaging and putting reaching out to her. um as I said, man, when you're going through that, you have this sense, and depression is a big part of like this thing where something in the back of your mind is like you could have, and we had this conversation earlier today, and you can have the greatest support system around you. You could have the greatest family members around you that are always going to be there for you. But when you were in that mental state, you were always going to think, I don't want to bother them. They don't want nothing to do with me. Like I'm just a hindrance on them. I'm, and even like her video, there were certain points where it was very clear that mental illness was involved here, and that she was suffering.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, she was hurting, she was in pain, it's she was at her wit's end, and no matter what anybody was saying, it was just not going through to her that she had friends out there, that she was loved. She already made the decision mentally to do what she did. Like I said, I've only met her once. It was brief, but like I said before, we're a family, we're a fraternity of brothers and sisters, and we're always there for each other. When we need each other. And I just wish she would have just reached out to one of her friends. I'm not trying to pass blame like that. It's just we could have helped. Her friends could have helped. Try to consult her. Try to just give her a reason to live.
Yeah, and from the people that I have met that had known her, that were friends with her, have told me how much of an amazing person that she is. And it's just like I said, man, it's mental health that, it's like man, it affects everybody. Depression affects, people that, you don't even know that it affects. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes some people put on this this brave exterior to the outside world,
Sometimes you got to. I mean, it is.
and you mentioned that, for you didn't want to speak out because you felt that it was weak, and you
It
felt
is.
like you couldn't. But in 2021, it's not weak to speak. You know what I mean? It's not
But
weak
it
to reach out.
Yeah, but in wrestling, and again, I'm not speaking for everybody because then but I'm speaking for myself. It's just the mindset of a professional wrestler is you have to be strong. You can't show any weakness, because you just be soft and you become stop being a pussy and stuff like that. It's just that's my mindset. For the time of my era. This wrestling era probably would be different. But for me, that's how it was ingrained in me to be that way. Just like in wrestling, when you got hurt, you say, "Hey, are you hurt?" No, 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 I'm good. I'm good. Even if you were hurt, you just didn't want to admit because you were trained to keep pushing forward. So that's what I'm saying. Is just you just don't want to show any signs of weakness. So that's what I'm saying for my part. Excuse me.
I, it's okay. I think that if the wrestling generation of your generation, Angel, didn't have that mindset, and other generations in the business didn't have that mindset, then we'd still see quite a few people still with us.
Yeah, and also you got to look at it. I mean, even in other sports. I mean, look at. I mean, you could say. Regardless if it's a different sport, we all fall into the same categories. Like rugby, rugby is a man's sport. A rugged group of individuals, strong men or women. Football, boxing. I mean, you have to be strong. You can't show weakness. Especially around the boys. You've been in rugby. You know how if you would have started crying in the locker room, which is nothing wrong. But think about it. Back in the days, if you would have broke down in tears, they would have looked at you like, "Come on, man, you need to, man up and step to the plate." It's just a different. I don't know. It's just that's just how my mind is. You know, um, I remember one time. It's a true story. Javito broke down one time in the car, and we all looked at him like, because you're not supposed to break down as a wrestler. But we were there for him, of course. But it was just we were just like a shock that he, broke down. But when you get to your wits end, and it's hard to put that face on every day, every day, every day. And he was just upset about something. It wasn't a suicidal thing. It was just the work. It was overload, and that's all it was. But it's just I battled my demons, man. I battled my demons. So I see her point. I see her what she went through. Not to that level, but I've been close to that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have, and I think, and you look at suicide as and everyone has a different view on suicide
Yeah.
and everything like that. And Angel, me, I'm a mental health advocate. I think that everyone, whatever you're going through, you need to get help. You need to address those things. You can't, let your mental health go, and you can't let things get to that stage. You know what I mean? Like, there's always help there for you. There's psychologists, psychiatrists, there's family members, there's people out there. And as I said, man, people that go through this sort of stuff, they can have the greatest of supports, but in the darkest hour, you don't think of that. You don't think, hey, I should reach out to Angel. I should call Angel and just, hey buddy, I just need a conversation with you. I need to chat with you. Hey Pierce, hey man, look, I just need to talk. I need to get something off my chest. You know what I mean? Like, I need to tell you how I'm feeling. And sometimes that's really well needed, bro. You've been there for me when I've needed someone, you know what I mean? Like, I've been there for you. And it's like, that's, I think that the main important thing is, like, you have to be willing to be able to reach out and to be confident to reach out that people are going to be there for you. And, looking.
But don't mean to cut you off, but also,
Yeah.
the worst part about it, with the depression and the pain and the suffering that she was going through, along if she had CTE, that's just another thing on top of that to even enhance the pain, because I mean, we don't, the CTE situation, like she was saying that she wants to donate her brain, that she didn't want to do damage to her brain to see if she had CTE, you know, if that was true, meaning true, like if she did have it, that's even just making everything worse because, when you have that, it just affects your emotions, it affects your mental state, so if she was having emotional issues and plus the CTE, just adding to that, it's hard, man. I mean, like I said, there's different levels of depression, different levels of why your mind does the things, what you think about. And I think CTE is just one of those things that just enhances your depression. If you are
Mm,
depressed, it just makes it 10 times worse.
yeah.
Like I said,
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, we don't know
Yeah,
if
we
she
don't
was
know.
drinking or she was under the
Oh,
influence
sorry.
at the time of that video.
I thought you was gonna say
Um,
we didn't know it's about her CTE. That I was saying, oh
well,
yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we didn't know about her CTE. She did mention that in the video.
yeah. We just
I,
don't know if she has it. That's the only thing. We're not
yeah.
doctors, so it has to
uh,
be tested and stuff.
So I'd like to sort of take it back a little bit and just talk about her career and so we can pay respect. This episode is a difficult one for us to cover, and we want to make sure that we pay the proper respects to Daffney throughout this episode. Um, you know, she actually started her career at WCW in
Oh yeah.
1999. And, she answered an ad
She-
um, where
th-
for they were looking to acquire new talent, and she got hired. You know what I mean? Like, dude, she was such a unique looking woman in the world of wrestling, especially for like the time that she came in, like that late 90s was blonde hair, blue eyes, tanned. And then like someone like her, someone like Lita going to WWF, having that sort of grungy rock star look was something different and unique. And the character that she portrayed as David Flair's on-screen girlfriend, and then in the group with her, David and Crowbar, she was a hell of a performer.
yeah.
You
But also,
know,
you got to remember, I mean, we even found out that she was Vic Grimes' manager back in the days during the I won't
XPW days, I think.
XPW days. So yeah, so I mean, she had she's just like she just didn't just sign up for a talent search and got hired by WCW
No.
as a non-talented wrestler. She was a wrestler before she applied. You know, I think it was a contest. I don't think it was she applied. I think it was a like almost like a talent search, but you had to have some wrestling background to perform.
Yeah, right. So she had a background prior to that in wrestling, did she?
As far as I know, yeah, man. I mean, she was she'd been in wrestling for quite some time in the independent scene. She reminded me a little bit of her characters as Harley Quinn from Batman. Just I don't know. That's just always when I saw her as that character, it's just always brought Harley Quinn to mind.
Yeah. And she had a stint, as you said, in XPW. She even after being released from WCW, she opted to continue wrestling and attended Dusty Rhodes' Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling
Mm.
for 8 months, dude. And and as you said, worked as Lucy as Vic Grimes' manager. She appeared at Ring of Honor, and she was also the valet for the Second City Saints, which was CM Punk's thing with Ace and Colt Cabana. So she had definitely had like been in the business, and a lot of people, man, have a lot of love for Daffney. As a performer, as a human being, and dude, she was like one of the things I found interesting was she was actually born as it like in on a military site in Germany. Like her father was in the military, which
Yeah, she
that's
was a
that's a pretty unique thing, man. You know what I mean? To be born on an army barrack, and then also considering her look and her style, being that she was raised in that sort of regiment, like I don't think you could have really picked that.
yeah, but she didn't look like that when she was younger, of course.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, 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 I know.
I mean, it's just a career choice that she made in wrestling. But yeah, she was a military brat. I mean, she, and lived in Germany. I mean, which is pretty cool. I mean, her dad was, I think, a lieutenant colonel, retired. So I mean, that's a good. Not to say good career, but I'm saying I would love to be living in an army base and travel around the world. Some people might say not because you just lose your friends, but I don't know. Traveling, I love traveling, so that would have been fun.
Yeah, dude,
But
absolutely, man. But she had a bit of time in TNA as well. She was partnered up, with Doctor Doctor Stevie Richards, a
mm,
good friend of yours
yeah, good
and
dude.
mine. And she spent a bit of time with him around 2009, 2010. She was in TNA, I think, up until about 2011. She wrestled for Shine and Shimmer and organizations like that. Um, and again, like I think from what I've seen, she really sort of stepped in to sort of help the younger generation and be involved. Like, even at Ring of Honor in 2018, she had a brief stint. Well, not a stint there, but she did a couple of shows with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And I think having someone as experienced like that come into your locker room to sort of help give knowledge and be there for people as well on a human level just goes to show the person that she was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I even found out that she had and I'm not wearing my glasses, so you have to help me because I'm cleaning my lens. But I know she had a bachelor's degree in the performing arts. I mean, she was very smart. She had video and I want to say video and music production in her repertoire. I mean, so this woman was very, very smart, very intelligent. She could have been a producer in WWE behind the scenes because she was that talented.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of surprising that WWE never really picked her up though. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
sorry,
Like
sorry, dude. I gotta clean these.
no, that's okay. Like she was such a unique individual.
Individual.
Yeah, she was definitely a unique individual that brought so much to the table. You know what I mean? For me, I really liked that character that she had when she came in with David Flair and Crow, like in that sort of instance, and the craziness, the wildness, the screaming, and you know. But then, were we seeing art imitating life or life imitating art?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, that's a very, I mean, it's a point. It's a good point, but it's just very like hard to pinpoint where it starts and where it starts and where it ends. Imitating life. You know, like I said, for me, and like I said, I've been through it. Like I said, I hate putting my personal business out there because I don't even put my personal business on Facebook unless I lose my temper. But I mean, like my second marriage, I mean, that was dark. I mean, and it's especially with the depression, and plus if I have CTE on top of that, plus being belittled, being talked down to, man, I was just spiraling down to the pits of like the darkest part of my soul. I mean, I'm being straight honest. I mean, I laid in bed just literally just thinking about, ending my life at some points, and then having somebody in your life not, you know, not like keeping you uplifted, happy, and then you're getting shit on by her, by your significant other. Man, that's
Mhm.
just layers and layers, like a fucking parfait, man. Just another layer of fucking just, depression. I remember one line I remember that that I still remember to this day. We're in the middle of an argument, and she, I was just saying something like, why are you treating me like this? Big strong wrestler like me, like in my mind, and I said something to the fact that I used to be I used to be on TV. I used to be a, you know I traveled around the world and I used to be this. And I said that word used to be. And she goes, that's right. Yeah, used to be a famous wrestler, used to be on TV. Bro, bam, that hit me like a nail and like a just like a like a big old spear just went through my fucking chest. Dude, it's a very, very, very ladder to climb out of, hole to climb out of. That ladder just super high, and I just didn't think I could get out of it. But I made it through because my daughter
How,
kept me strong.
how,
Hmm.
how did you get through it? You mentioned
My daughter,
Leah.
my
Sorry, your
daughter,
daughter.
man.
Yeah.
Putting my daughter's name out there. Damn you! Now I got
I'm sorry.
stalkers. Nah, you're fine. I don't give two shits.
Um,
But dude, what get me going is truthfully, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it and I said, man, who it's the stupidest thing, but that's what went through my mind. To me, it was stupid. Like, this is what is gonna help me get past this. I didn't want to put my mother through it because she lost my dad when I was like 14. I didn't want to have Leah be by herself. Um, that's what really kept me like, you gotta beat this. It's the most fucking TV special stupid mentality that I thought, but it was not like that was my epiphany. I couldn't let nobody down like my mother and my daughter. And that's what helped me. You know,
yeah.
would it? I mean, could I still turn to for the worst? Fuck yeah, you know. But when you look at your kid, and they just think you're the world at that time. I mean, my daughter thinks I'm the world now, but you know what I mean. When they're a kid, they just live, breathe, and just think you're the best thing since
Yeah. Sliced
And
bread.
yeah, sliced bread, which I'm like, I don't know why, but but the kid just sees it on you, and daddy is the best thing on the planet, and daddy doesn't do no wrong. Um, and my daughter used to come to my defense with my ex, like, don't say that to daddy, like that really,
Yeah, defending you.
dude. One story. This is a sad story, but this is how great my daughter was. Um, it's the stupidest thing, but I opened a she wanted to eat and she was like four, almost five. And she was like, Dad, I'm hungry. And I was like, okay. And I wasn't depressed. I was fat. I was 300 and something pounds. So I opened a bag of chicken nugget rings. I still remember this. Those, it was looked like onion rings. So ex-wife comes home and I fed her and fed the daughter. And she's like, hey, what'd you feed her? I said, I feed her those chicken nugget rings. Right. And she's like, why did you not use the open bag? And I'm like, I just didn't see it. I forgot. And then I did something else for my daughter. She goes, well, why'd you do this? Why didn't you wait for this? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I can't get a break. It's only fucking chicken nuggets and, whatever. Bro, I like literally put my hand on my face and like leaned down. She was in the kitchen and I'm just like in tears, because again, my depression and stuff. And my daughter just tapped me on the shoulder and she goes, Daddy, it's okay. You tried. Dude, that meant a lot, that your own little girl comes up to you and just pats you on the shoulder saying it's okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that just kept me going, man. She was the caveat of me keep pushing forward. But enough about me, enough about my
Yeah.
sad world.
It's
Have you ever had a situation
with
similar? Well,
yeah,
similar, something,
yeah,
a
yeah.
brother or cousin, your dad, or anybody, your kids, your wife.
Dude, I've been in that situation, man. Like I I've been there. I I once tried to do it myself. I once tried to take my own life, and that's why I think in hearing the video, it hit home. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't just like, oh, this is a wrestler I used to watch on TV. And me, dude. Like, I don't really mark out for people like wrestlers and stuff,
For
but
me, you do.
but you know what I mean? Like, this really hit personally with me,
Yeah.
and it was someone I didn't even know, someone I'd never had a conversation with, and seeing that video, I don't want to say triggered feelings in my mind, but it took me back to times where, like, I've said these things before, not about CTE, but I've said these things in my mind before. I'd been in that mindset before. And the scary thing was that when she was doing the video, at one stage, you see her pick something up in her hand, and which is the cocking of a gun motion.
Mm-hmm. What made the sound? Yeah, she
And
cocked it.
it made the sound. And that was to me where it was almost chilling. It was something I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like it put a fear in me at that stage that something was going to happen for the worst. And what really, you could really see that the wrestling community jumped in, tried to sort of reach out. We saw multiple posts. Has anyone heard from Daffney? Has anyone reached out? Has anyone got her number? Has it, people that have been her friends, people that loved her, people that cared for her, and all these people that loved her dearly, you know what I mean? And that they just couldn't, no one could get to her in time.
Yeah, and
Like
that's the thing.
no
And
one could get there in time. And it's no one's fault. Like no one can take thing. And like, I know when something like this happens, and I can't speak for what their mentality is, their friends, but just know there's nothing. As much as you'd sit there and go, what can I do to help? What could I have done to stop this from happening? And this is the thing, man. You need to be able to reach out to your friends. You need to, if you think someone is going through something, when you think someone is struggling with something, you need to reach out to them. You know what I mean? And Angel, I'm going to say it, and I apologize if I offend you or any old school wrestlers, if I offend anyone here. But in the end of the day, you know what? I'm not sorry if I offend anyone, because if you find what I say offensive, then you know what I mean? That's that's the person's issue who takes offense. But that old school wrestling mentality of like, oh, I can't talk, I can't speak up, that's bullshit.
I'm
That
offended.
is bullshit. That will be offended, but that is bullshit. Because if more people spoke up, if more people had the strength to try and speak up, then we would have less of this sort of stuff happening in the world of professional wrestling. We'd see less of suicides in professional wrestling, in sports, in entertainment, in the entertainment industry, whether it's music, movies, whatever it is.
Well, you got to look at it like this, and it's not the wrestling mentality. Also, you got to look at the way you were brought up. Like my dad. My dad never cried. My dad told me that you don't cry in public. This is what you're instilled. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. But it's ingrained in you. Once it's something that's ingrained in you, it's very hard to change. Regardless if it's for the better or the worst. I mean, your dad's a man's man. I mean, you told me some stories of like, yeah, my dad don't do this. My dad doesn't do that. He doesn't. Quote me if I'm like, he doesn't like hug you or something. I don't know. I can't remember. What I mean? He's not. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But that's ingrained.
Yeah.
It's hard. But if you feel like, oh yeah, it's not right, but you still feel it because it's part of who you are, it's hard to deviate from that, which I agree with you. When people need help, you definitely reach out. But when it's ingrained in you, it's hard to deviate from it. Even if you feel like, oh, I should, but that other part of you that's built to be that way, it's hard to break free, break the chains of that.
So what if you back in the day would have seen someone who you saw was struggling mentally, that was sitting there, they were showing, the body language and signs of them struggling? Would you have gone up? Would you have said, hey, let's go grab a beer, let's go grab a cup of coffee, let's go sit down and have a conversation?
Making fun of my coffee accent, I heard that. But
I did. But would you have done
but,
that? Would you have done that back in an ECW locker room?
What I
When you see
feel,
someone like a Chris Candido coming in looking upset, or whether it's Shane Douglas, Rob Van Sandman, whoever it is, you saw them, they weren't acting the way that you would normally see them act. You see them, they're like,
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I feel and what I have to do are two different things. What I feel personally for my personal self, it's hard for me to release it. But if a brother of mine is having issues, yeah, I'm gonna reach out. Hey man, you all right? You need to talk? Yeah, but if it was me, I'm not gonna put out my emotions to like I need help, I need that. That's just back in the days. If somebody came up to me and just pulled me to the side and just say, hey man, you all right? Oh man, I'm having problems. Like I said, see how I'm whispering? Like wrestlers are like that. Nah, brother, this is, like we don't want the whole world to know what's going on. So if somebody came to me and like DeVito, like I confide in DeVito. If I had problems and DeVito came up to me, I would like close the door in the hotel room and say, yo, this is what's going on. But
But
that's behind closed door.
you've confided in me, and I'm not like. Is it because I'm not a wrestler? I'm someone who's outside the business, and you feel that
No,
you
it's just
it's more safe.
because I grown up from a different person from the road. I'm not on the road anymore. I'm not I'm not it's like the rock star lifestyle, man. You're on the road, you're with the rats, you're doing this, you're in that world. I'm still in the wrestling world, but I'm not the same person as I was before. So it's different now. I don't give a two fucks what anybody thinks about me if I'm fucking break down in tears. It's just a different mindset, you know. But at the time, that time and I still feel the same a little bit. It's just I grew more, you know. I
Mm.
just blossomed more to a different person. I still have the wrestling mindset, but I still think it's bullshit. Like fuck that shit. I don't care. I'm gonna speak up my mind and speak. But again, you have to grow, man. Every time you move on in life, you learn more and you grow more. And
In the world of professional wrestling, like in any industry, any business, any organization, you're dealing with people with human elements, and depression is a human element, and mental health is human elements for people as well. So I think we've seen people with in the wrestling world with mental health concerns and issues, and you know what I mean, like now more than ever, in 2021, wrestling I believe has come more of a safe place for people to
Oh
express
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, I commend WWE for putting out if you need any assistance or to talk to somebody, they put out that for all the wrestlers if they were interested. Back in the days, if they would offer that shit, I would have been like, no, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want nobody to know I went to somebody to talk. If I wanted to talk to somebody, I'd do it outside the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Like if I needed to talk to somebody, I won't ever tell like Vince or Paul, like, oh, I need help. I'd be like, okay, have a wonderful day. And as soon as I left the door, got in my car and went back to reality, outside the wrestling world, that's when I would go and be see like a therapist and, sit there and talk, but nobody would know.
But that's the thing in the work world, and I mean the business world, not the wrestling business world. We attend work more than we spend more time at work than we do with our wives, our husbands, our girlfriends, our boyfriends, our family, our children, our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
be. The wrestling world, you times that by a fucking 100 because
Hmm.
you're on the road. You know what I mean? You're on the road for 6 out of the 7 days. You come home for one day to lay your head on your own pillow for one night, get a fresh bag of clothes, clean your gear, and then you're on the road again, and it starts all over again.
Yeah.
I think in that environment, people should be more closer to people and more in tune with what they're seeing with people around them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Daphne it was someone who'd been off the road for a long time, and you know, she hadn't been in. I don't believe around the massive wrestling bubble consistently like over the last few years, but she still had so many people caring for her, so many people loving her, and it's just sad that she couldn't see that.
Yeah, and I understand it. Like I said before, I wouldn't for me because I'm so closed behind closed doors mentality. Like I said, I would knowing me, I just don't put myself out there. It's just hard for me to put myself on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, for the shows and comedic relief or stuff. Yeah, I put myself on blast. But for my personal life, like I will never. Again, that's just me. I don't knock her for what she did. It's just me and my emotions. I'd be like, I don't know. I can't express myself on video in front of the world to, because I didn't want the boys to see what I'm going through or whatever. It's just one of my mindsets. That's just how I am. I mean, I don't even put my kids on Facebook. You even notice that, or even my Facebook, I don't post. I mean, sometimes I do, but it's a rare
Very
thing.
rare, very rare. You
Yeah,
put
it's a rare
your
thing.
personal stuff out there, and
That's just how I am.
again, the state that the mental state that Daphne was in, I don't think she gave a shit about that sort of wrestling mentality, that wrestling thought, that old stoic way. This was someone who was hurting. This was someone that was breaking in front of the world on an Instagram live in front of hundreds of people. And then, the following day it was announced of her passing of alleged gunshot wound. That's why the cocking of the gun really sort of is eerie.
Yeah.
If that's the way that she passed, it's very eerie.
Well, that's what I heard. But again, I haven't seen the final report, so I can't. I'm just speculating. But as far as I could, from visually seeing, I think that's how she took her own life. But anyway, look, we can continue talking about this. I mean, again, she was an awesome person, and somebody who people respected in this business. And like I said, when you have an emotional problem in your life, you definitely holler at somebody. CTE is also again something that's still being being tested to see how it affects the human mind. It's something that's a mystery right now. I mean, again, it's still in the first stages of trying to find out how this works and how does it affect your moods, your emotions, your how you think. I mean, this is something that's just really, really, really needs to be on the front line as well. On top of because again, one complements the other. If you're depressed, does that CTE enhance it even worse? If you're crying, does it make you cry worse or think worse thoughts? So this is something that is a mind altering um, thing of CTE. So if like I said, I might have it. I mean, the only way you can find out if and I'm laughing because I'll tell you it's a quick story, but I'm laughing because I might have it, but the only way that you could find out is if I died and they slice my brain open. And anyway, it was a lawyer that said, "Hey, would you sign off on a CTE if you do pass away that we have the rights to take your brain?" Because it was in a lawsuit for concussions for WWE. And I was like, sure, why not? If it's gonna, if they could prove that ECW was a contribute to my injury and I have it, yeah, I'm down. So then I said, after I signed the paperwork, I'm like, oh, man, I want nobody slicing my brain and stuff. So I told this my ex-wife, when I fucking die, you cremate me as fast as possible. Don't let them take my brain. But I mean, I wouldn't know when I'm dead, but it's just that they have to figure it out. And the only way to do it is to get into that brain and see the damage that it happened. That's why I'm taking like a lot of like not medication, but vitamins and for the brain to see if I could like heal it. You know what I mean? Give it the nutrients it needs to heal itself. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I get in those mindsets like I forget words or like Louis just bringing up stories that I'm like, I don't remember that. It's scary, man. You
Yeah.
know.
It definitely is, man. And I think that this episode has it's been hard for both of us to really cover, like to find the words for this. Just R.I.P. Daphne. That's all I can say, and I'm not even laughing. It's
Yeah, I understand what you mean, brother. I mean, it's just something that, like I said, like you said in the beginning of the show, and we're saying at the end of the show, as you look at the bottom part of the screen, you see all the numbers for the Australian Lifeline. Please use it. If the
And the
U.S. is,
American as well.
yeah, I was going to say that in the United
Sorry.
States. No, you're fine. It's just that, like I said, they're there to help you. They're there to get you the help you need. They're there to talk to you. Don't be ashamed to just talk. It doesn't hurt to talk. I mean, they have solutions, they have answers. And if they don't have the answer, they'll find it. But like I said, if you don't want to talk to them, you can talk to one of us. I'm not no doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I've been there. So I know how it feels. Maybe not the level that you feel, but I've been to a level. Maybe higher or maybe a little bit lower, but I know what you're going through. And Pierce as well, you know. But again, I wish we
As
could
I,
continue to talk about this, but
as I said, just please, if you are feeling suicidal or someone you know is suicidal, please reach out to one of the below lines. If you're in the US or Australia, if you're in the UK, New Zealand, somewhere else in the world, you all have these resources available. Please use them. Please reach out to someone and just know that you are never alone. And do not make a permanent solution for a temporary problem. Thank you very much, Angel. This one has been a hard one. We'll catch you
yeah,
guys next week, huh?
yeah, absolutely. You take care.
Peace.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.